sit here and work through our thoughts on quarterbacks around the league, what I look for is, and I mean this in the less serious sort of quarterback conversation, but I look for basically discrimination. In other words, when opinions form about someone and your only reason for forming that opinion is because of circumstances and the circumstantial nature of what's going on. For example, how do stats factor into this? I would argue that one of the reasons the 49er quarterback is often diminished in the minds of many, they'll say, well, Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. And, the fun conversation we had with Alan last week. Boy, it must be nice to have Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey on your team. The 49er quarterback usually succeeds by throwing for about 220 yards, not 320 yards.
Right.
And so people will look at him and go, oh, well, that's not you're not Mahomes. You're not Allen. We need you to zip the thing all over and be one of the top fantasy quarterbacks out there. How does Jalen Hurts factor into this? Jalen Hurts, who, by the way, the Eagles lead the Bucs 3-0 late first quarter in the first of two Monday Night Football games. And the Eagles this year have run the ball really well. DeAndre Swift had that crazy game against Minnesota last Thursday night. But Jalen Hurts statistically as a passer, I like watching him play. He looks good. But I don't know. And we jump to the conclusion that Jalen is elite and amazing, and no one ever said, wait, tap the brakes, even though last year was sort of his first really good year cover to cover. I don't know, man. Something feels out of line.
Well, it's two different things. It's stats, and then it is the eye test, and do you win football games? And that's where Jalen Hurts now has gotten the benefit of the doubt that, quarterbacks like Brock Purdy haven't yet gotten. Now, Brock gets more of it because he's never lost, but he hasn't gone through a full year and put up the numbers and quarterbacked his team start to finish like Jalen Hurts did last year. Hurts was an MVP candidate, and Brock Purdy wasn't, and it's because Brock took over 2/3 of the way through the year and was great, and even when it came time for Offensive Rookie of the Year, he didn't win that award, even though he had 6 or 7 great games as the Niners quarterback. So I do think that a little bit of it has to do with stats. It also has to do with the eye test, and then it also has to do with the quarterback's record.
Yeah, I totally get all that. And I think this is not me trying to say that Jalen Hurts is not a really good player. I think he's right there. I think that's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, all of that stuff. I'm just trying to figure out where we get to certain opinions on certain guys where it feels easy to get ahead of ourselves, and then other guys, and this is definitely where I would put Brock, it feels like he's got to prove it over and over and over and over again, and you do something 10 to 12 times in a row, and you get to the end of those 10 to 12 times, and some people are like, I'm going to need to see more. And you're like, what is going on here? Trevor Lawrence, we've decided is incredible. Is he? I don't know. Not this year, he's not.
Yeah, and it's because the team is not playing great, and he's not playing great either. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And he is thrown for 736 yards, which is about 240 a game, 245 a game, which is not eye-popping. And he hasn't been great. They haven't been great. They've been a disappointment. And he has one of these really good head coaches, too. So is it an indictment of Trevor Lawrence that he's got a good team, he's surrounded by talented weapons, he's got a great head coach, and yet he's been just okay, and they're 1-2.
I mean, he is coming off. Look, he was fantastic last year. There's no way around that. I mean, they went to the playoffs. He threw for over 4,100 yards. His TD to interception ratio is right where you wanted. It was 25-8. The completion percentage north of 66%. So part of it, I get it. Like Trevor Lawrence and Jalen Hurts have completed full seasons as A-level quarterbacks and brought a team to the playoffs. So that I fully understand. But I don't know. Somewhere for me, it also goes to that draftism thing that we talk about a lot. Like Trevor Lawrence is now a made man for a lot of people because he was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
We all saw him in college, too, and he was terrific in college.
And he was a huge, huge prospect. And Jalen Hurts, less so. Like, big-time school, sure, but weren't sure. He came in a later round and then worked his way in and convinced everybody last year. You've said this a few times, and you're right. If Brock does this year what Jalen did last year, then I think the conversation will move on. But it does feel like city to city, there are certain guys who will produce for years, even years. And, like, how about this? Where are you on Geno Smith? He's coming off of a really, really good year.
Yep.
Took a team to a playoff, but I don't really feel like anyone's ever going to be like, yeah, Geno Smith is now, he's one of the dudes, like a clear QB1, a successful one in the league.
Well, I think you have to wait for him to do it more than just once, and it's partly because what we know of Geno Smith from early in his career with the Jets, and he was basically washed out of the league, we thought, and then he got a chance in Seattle, and he did it last year. He was great. This year he's been fine. 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 736 yards through 3. He's been good, and they're going to be a team that probably will be in the playoffs or should be right there. And at the end of this year, if he leads Seattle to a playoff again 2 straight years, I think then he gets elevated into that group.
I'd like to thank Geno Smith for putting 37 on the Carolina Panthers yesterday. I tried something strategic yesterday with a lot of options on the survivor pool menu last week. You could take the Chiefs. You could take the 49ers. A lot of people were high on the Dallas Cowboy pick.
Yeah, a lot of people went down with that one.
Some people like Jacksonville with supposed pushover Houston in town. I never liked the division battles like that. I really wanted to take the 49ers. I thought that was a 2-foot putt, but I didn't because, and this is the cardinal sin in the survivor pool, is you don't take someone because you want to take them the next week, and then you don't even get to the next week. But I was like, I want to take the Niners next week. I want to take the Niners against the Cardinals. So I'm like, where can I take something that I feel good about and not go with the herd? Because that's how you lose. You go with the herd, and then, right? So I took the Seahawks. We're still alive.
Okay.
More than half the pool is out.
Half the pool. I was going to ask,
88 out, 66 in.
Okay. Now you start to get into the deep water. And will you take the Niners? Is that
that's
you've already
the plan?
You've already settled it.
I still have the Niners. I still have the Chiefs. I don't have the Eagles. I used them last week, but I still have the Bills. Like I'm loaded and ready to make this run, Dibs, and make it a repeat performance of last year.
Well, like you said, you can't worry about week 5 until you win in week 4. And just looking at the slate, not a lot of easy slam dunky. Dolphins at Bills Sunday morning. Oof. That's a fun one.
That's a game.
That's a ball game right there.
That is a game.
Over under is and I have to confirm this. 116 is the over under. Seriously though, the Bills D, which was nasty. My fantasy defense is the Bills, so I was watching them closely. They were racking them up yesterday.
Well, I have them in a different league, and I won that game. It's the only game I won yesterday.
Ottoman,
because of the Bills. But by the way, what was the over-under in that game yesterday? I know the over hit, but what was the number?
For Dolphins Broncos?
Yeah, it was not 89.5.
No, I would guess it was probably 49 or 50.
I believe it was 49.5.
Look at me.
And the Dolphins had 49 midway through the third quarter.
I mean, they covered it by themselves with ease.
In the third quarter.
Woo! Good Lord.
Yeah, there are no other real lopsided looking games.
That's why
next
I want to do it. I wanted to hold the Niners because I'm like, I don't want to take them on Thursday because then what do I do? What do I do next week?
Chiefs at Jets.
At Jets.
But
I hate road games.
In Survivor Pool. I'm with you.
I hate it.
I'm with you.
I hate taking road
Cowboys
teams.
At home and a bounce back against McCorkle and the Pats.
I do think the Cowboys are going to can the Patriots this week. I do think that.
Eagles at home against the Commanders, sir. Yes, sir.
Can't take them anymore. Already used the Eagles.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm out on Eagles.
And then, the rest of them are like coin flip central. See? Bucks at Saints with no Derek Carr.
No way.
Colts and Rams, Steelers and Texans. The plucky Texans who boast, I believe C.J. Stroud, he's 4th in the league in passing yardage.
C.J. Stroud broke a record yesterday. It's the first quarterback, I think, in the history of the league to come in and in his first 3 games have at least 900 yards passing, at least 4 touchdowns, and 0 picks.
Right.
C.J. Stroud.
He's got 906, and he has exactly 4 touchdowns.
And
so
no
there
picks,
you go.
though.
Right.
And I think that's what Brock has also. He's played really well. And that's when I see a guy like that, that's when I'm like, uh-oh. Right? Like, hey, Justin Fields, what are you doing? You guys came out of the same school, and you're in year 3, and CJ just walked into the league, and he's like, watch this. And he looks really good. It's good for DeMeco Ryans. I think they've got their guy.
4
obviously.
quarterbacks have played 3 games and have no picks. It's
that feels like game show music right
we
there.
can do it.
Yeah.
We can do
What
it.
is it?
You're 4
quarterbacks
quarterbacks have played 3 games
and have no picks.
You already mentioned
one of
2
them's
of
Purdy,
them.
and the other one, and C.J. Stroud is another one.
Yeah, there are 2 others who have played 3 games.
I don't think Herbert has thrown a pick.
That is correct.
Okay, and the other one,
Tough one.
I have a thought, especially since you said it's a tough one. But I'm hold.
You're looking at the stats.
No, I'm not.
Fun.
I'm just looking at a board of the teams. Just reminding myself of all the teams here.
Bored.
I think.
That's
Are you
what
bored?
I am with
Are
this
you
bit.
bored? Is it? I got 3 people. Just tell me if it's one of them. It's either Tua, Baker, or Josh Dobbs. It's one of those 3. Is it?
Ow!
I'm going Dobbs. I'm going Josh Dobbs.
Yeah! Put it on the board!
Yeah!
2 has thrown 2. And who was the other name that you threw out? It had to be
Baker.
Baker's only played 2 games. He's yet to throw a pick.
Oh, well, he's playing the third one right now. Has he thrown a pick?
I don't think so.
Thrown a pick yet?
But he hasn't played 3 games. He's played
got the
2
ball.
and a hook.
Oh, look out, he's throwing right now. Oh! And it didn't get picked. Anyway. All right.
He has not thrown a pick.
Okay.
But he's not played 3 games. He's played 2 and a quarter.
Josh Dobbs is going to throw 2 on Sunday, brother.
Maybe.
Or not. Anyway.
Spread's 14. What's your lean? Would you lay the 14?
Stay away.
Wow.
Stay away. It's too many points, but yeah.
You'd lay the 14.
I mean, they should give up 10 and they should score 30.
The usual 30.
Purdy 30.
That's what we do.